today. I'm your host, Bev Muendel-Atherstone. And today we welcome Mike Saad. He's a teacher in Lethbridge, and he's going to tell us about his experience with being diagnosed with prostate cancer. And we will focus on the prostate cancer from diagnosis through to treatment and recovery. So welcome, Mike. Thank you very much for being willing to come and share your journey with prostate cancer with all of us. So, Mike, you grew up in the Crow's Nest Pass.
Yes, I grew up in Sparwood, BC, so I'm a BC boy. But yeah, I spent a lot of time in the Pass, family out there, and yeah, I'm a Valley boy at heart, but I've been in Alberta a lot longer now. So
you came down here to go to the University of Lethbridge?
Yes, I did. It was supposed to just be a year, but and then I was going to go off to what I thought was bigger and better things in UBC, but I loved the U of L so much, I decided to stay and love Lethbridge, so I made this my home.
Well, that's a good advertisement for the city and for the university.
I hope so. Yeah, sure. Yeah, wonderful places. Yeah.
And you went on to become a high school teacher.
Yes, I graduated with my Bachelor of Arts in History and BA and a B.Ed, Bachelor of Education from the U of L, Social Studies, and I've taught everything that I can, especially as a rural teacher today. But yes, I've been teaching now for 27 years, I guess, about to start year 28.
Wow.
So. Yeah, went fast.
You must have started when you were 2.
Well, early 20s.
And you met your wife at the university?
More or less, yes. We were both university students. I met her back home. She was actually working for the mines in the Sparwood area, and we're both at university, so yeah, we hooked up there.
How nice. Yeah. How nice. And you have a lovely family, and you're enjoying Lethbridge.
Yes, very much, yeah.
So let's talk about your diagnosis.
Sure.
I'm really curious whether you had symptoms prior to your diagnosis that alerted you to anything.
Yeah, this is the crazy part. I had no symptoms, and it was during COVID, the 2020, year of hell for everybody, 2020. I was, like a lot of people, concerned about COVID and feeling lethargic and had been in public and still not quite certain if it was airborne or if it was surface or what it was. And so I thought, well, getting my COVID tests regularly, but I started feeling lethargic and thought, well, time for a checkup. And COVID was all that was on my mind. And I can always remember meeting with the doctor it was actually Campbell Clinic West. Great doctors there, great staff. He said, I got good news, don't worry about COVID, but we are concerned about your PSA numbers. And I had no idea what that was. I had been familiar enough with prostate cancer to know about, being involved with Movember. I think Justin Trudeau actually kickstarted that campaign in the early 2000s, before he was even Prime Minister. And I had been involved with that, but I'd really, other than growing the beard and the mustache, I really didn't know much about prostate cancer. So the thing was, they were quick to say, well, it may not be prostate cancer. It could be, an infection or inflammation. And I knew kind of, though, that they were worried. And so it was sort of the beginning of my change of life where, I started having to go regular tests and screenings. And the PSAs weren't going down. And so then I had my first biopsy in the fall of 2020, late 2020, and then it was confirmed that it was prostate cancer. So,
in the fall of 2020.
Yeah. So I was 47 at the time, feeling great, really. No symptoms.
Just a little lethargic.
Yeah, and I don't even think that was related to my actual diagnosis. Fortunately, and I'll still maintain this as a big plug for all men in their 40s and 50s, early detection was definitely the key there. And that was the one good news that they could give me after my diagnosis, because they told me the bad news first, and it was inoperable and or not inoperable, sorry, untreatable.
Untreatable.
Untreatable, yes, it was untreatable for him, and it was uncurable. And
Oh my.
yeah, so that was the disconcerting part. But they did say your best option will be to monitor it for a time, and then we're just gonna have to remove it. And so that was really my only option. And it just became a matter of when it would be removed. And they said it's slow moving, so that was the other token of good news I got out of it. But it would change my life in that I would be regularly screened and monitored.
Yes.
For the foreseeable future, including post-operation, which is where I'm at now. So it's, it was definitely a shock, and to have received such a dire diagnosis, in the sense that, I was really having major surgery was my only real recourse of option. And the care I received here, and working with Dr. De Silva at Lethbridge Urology Clinic, they were all great, and the staff at LRH were all great, and all the testing I underwent very supportive, and so it was a bit of a process. So
How long was it between the time you were diagnosed and you got your surgery?
yes, so I was initially told you could have the surgery anywhere from a year to 30 years. As it turned out, it was 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah. So what happened was I had undergone either an MRI or a biopsy every year. In the end, I had 2 MRIs and 4 biopsies. It was everything had gone well for the most part between 2020 and 2023. It was still very slow moving. It had only covered about half my prostate, but I was able to go to the U of L's MRI machine, and they were great there. And they had just noticed that the lesions that I had on my prostate were actually going over half the prostate, and that was a concern for the doctors. So then I had another biopsy at LRH, and then a radial biopsy at the Prostate Cancer Center in Calgary.
Oh, yes.
And that's where they determined, no, this needs to come out. It's spreadable, it's taking over the prostate. And so then it was just a waiting game as to when my surgery would be. And all that time, I never had a single symptom. And that's probably again, like I say, the big message for a lot of men, early detection is key. And if you can get it's just a simple blood test that gets this all started. And I think many men, like in my case, I've already gotten the blood test, I just didn't know it. Of course, how the health system works is it's only if there's bad news that they contact you. So,
Right.
So I hadn't even been aware I'd been tested for a while. Pretty much every checkup they test for PSAs. So going regularly is key, because they can catch it early, and it just gives you a whole host of options. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
So when did you finally get the surgery?
So my surgery was this year, 2025, in February. February 10th, I even remember the date.
So almost exactly 4 years.
Yes, and why I was so grateful for that time is because I was able to do a lot of things with my family. That we did several trips that would have been a lot more difficult in the state I'm at now. But we did some travel. We were able to do a lot of things. I really was symptom free, and that was the disconcerting part, almost surreal, because you felt like you didn't even really have cancer. That's the crazy part. But it was we got a good 4 years in, and then I realized it would be a life-altering
Yes.
surgery, and
Yes.
I was prepared well by the program at the Prostate Cancer Center, and then Dr. De Silva, of course, and his team with LRH and the Lethbridge Urology Center. So, I was able to do some work on, coping and resilience and understanding the life change I would have to undergo. My employer at Palliser Regional Schools, who I've worked for 25 years now, are very supportive, and were gracious with whatever I needed and time
Yes, I was
off and
going to
stuff.
ask you about that.
Sure.
How did that work with your surgery? So you had to take quite a bit of time off, I imagine.
Wound up taking 2 months off, and I had a very good substitute teacher in for me, so he took the reins of my classes. I was able to then stay at home. I was stuck with a catheter and urostomy bag for about a 2.5 week period post-surgery once I was able to come home. And, I had read several books that talk about anti-fragility and how to cope with difficult things. And in my case, I refused to let myself feel sorry for myself. I tried to accomplish whatever I could. You're stuck on a couch. You really can't move anywhere. You have this bag with you and the catheter. So, I decided what's something I can do that I've always wanted to do that keeps me confined to a couch. So I made a list of about 50 movies that I wanted to watch and never did as a kid or as an adult. And so a whole bunch of Clint Eastwood movies, Alfred Hitchcock. I watched them all many times at 3 a.m. while everyone in my house was asleep. But I, of course, was wide awake, stuck with this catheter, trying to deal with that. And of course, it was like a little puppy dog with me everywhere I went, but this wasn't a friendly puppy dog. So I just would watch movies and just try to keep my mind off things. And I wasn't able to lie down, which made it really difficult those 2 months. I had to sit in a recliner, and I just wasn't able to lie down. I tried a couple times, and it was an experiment that went very, very poorly. And so, I'm kind of stuck on my couch, and I'd get maybe 2 or 3 hours sleep if I was lucky. But I'd be up constantly, fiddling with the catheter and everything else. And so that's where Clint Eastwood and Alfred Hitchcock and all classics, James Dean, all these old movies I wanted to watch and never did. So threw them all in, and that was how I coped.
So you mentioned the reading that you did, and
yes.
and talking with your healthcare professionals. Did you go for counseling at all prior to cope with the lifestyle changes that were going to come up?
I local psychologist here in town I met with frequently, and that was lots of information from the Calgary Prostate Cancer Center at Rocky View.
Yes.
That's where I had my surgery, so they had a lot of material that sort of guided me through it. With remote, it's probably one of the better things that come out of the pandemic was the advent of remote technology. So,
yes.
I'd have a TV like this or your laptop, and you'd be able to talk with the Calgary team right there in your kitchen rather than have to constantly drive up to Calgary. So that was actually very helpful because, they could show you PowerPoints and interact on TV. There was actually several people from around Alberta that were a part of that too. So that was actually very handy because otherwise before the pandemic, you'd probably have to drive out there, right? And
so these were other patients?
Oh yeah. It was a support that they were able to offer to many men. And one of the things that was actually quite surprising to me is how many men were like me in the same boat with the prostate cancer diagnosis. There was even in the week I was at Rocky View, there must have been about a dozen men who had the same surgery or something similar.
And young men.
Yeah, that's probably the most disturbing part from with the advent of several cancers now, as we're seeing on the news. It's happening more and more to people in their 30s, 40s, 50s. A diagnosis like mine for someone in their 20s was almost unheard of, but now it's getting more and more common, and there's lots of theories as to why that's happening, but it's disturbing trend for sure. And young women with ovarian cancers and
yes.
uterine cancers. It's
breast cancer.
Yeah, breast cancer.
Breast
absolutely.
cancer.
Yeah, it's very, very disconcerting, and hopefully something we can get a handle on, figure out why this is happening at this level. So,
have you had to change anything about your eating, or do you take any medications?
The strange part about my diagnosis is when I hook up with several local individuals with prostate cancer here in Lethbridge area,
Yes.
they'll ask me questions like, oh, well, how was radiation for you? Or boy, oh boy, those medications are tough. And in my case, because my only option was surgery, it really, I'm not able to share those stories with them. I listened, of course, to their stories, but I myself have not. Haven't had to deal too much with medication other than supplements and vitamins and that sort of thing. And it's been a little crazy that way.
Yeah, so that was very fortunate in many ways not to have radiation or chemo, but it was scary because you only had the one option, and that was surgery, and that was
Full
it.
removal, yeah, full removal of the prostate, and that, of course, is a major enough surgery, and I'm still dealing with the life changes, a life in briefs, for instance, in pads, and something I'd been completely neglectful of before diagnosis, and now realize that's life for the foreseeable future. And regular PSA checks. I'll still be getting regular checks now for up to 10 years. So
What does regular mean? Like how often? Once a year? Once every half a year?
so right now it's been once every 2 months.
Once every 2
Yeah,
months.
so I'll be going again here shortly.
So they're really keeping a close watch
Yeah,
on you.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. Because it's the type of cancer, well, in many respects, like if you watch someone like Joe Biden, former president of the United
Yes.
States, with his diagnosis, it had very quickly, upon his diagnosis, realized it was spreading. And that's the fear in my case too, is that if it can potentially spread, you can actually still have prostate cancer in you without a prostate. So and of course we see that same unfortunate trend with breast cancer and with
Yes.
several others, that you can still die of it essentially, if it's, even though it's been, the organ or whatever has been removed. So that's the reason for the monitoring, as it was explained to me. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like they did a very good job of explaining everything to you in advance so that you were prepared, and that helped you a lot with being able to prepare yourself for the post-surgery.
Yes, absolutely. And the concept of anti-fragility that I had learned in a lot of my research and work and support was one that sort of put me in the right mindset.
Could you explain that anti-fragility? What does that mean?
Yeah, so I think the original movement comes out of Harvard. Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar and others like that have been promoting it in their recent works. Basically, it's trying to build a concept of resilience in you, and understanding that for a frame of reference, things can always be worse, and there's certainly, in my case, they're much more severe instances of prostate cancer I could have gone through. It really is about trying to stiffen your resolve, but also realize that you do need to take time to baby yourself, and try not to get into the doldrums too much, which is certainly, when you're sort of isolated on the couch at, like I say, at 4 in the morning, and everyone's sleeping, everyone's moving on with their lives, and you're sort of stuck. It's easy to wallow into the doldrums, and I was able to, fortunately, use some of these concepts to sort of understand that this too will one day pass. Things will get better. I'll try to, make some good come out of this. Try to go on programs like this and talk about my story, and hopefully encourage it. If I can encourage at least one person to go and get early detection and hopefully catch it early, I think that's really the key, and that's probably why I'm here talking to you right now, is having caught it early and realizing need to take action and do it through the healthcare system and through local doctors and the very, very good prostate cancer center to get myself to a point where I can somewhat get back to a normal life. So.
Yes, and you were saying that you were contrasting this to the experience that you and your wife had when you were down in Las Vegas on a holiday.
Right. So, yeah, what I was getting at with that is the importance of our public healthcare system. It's definitely something that we should be cherishing and salvaging and trying to strengthen in our country. We had undergone through the private system in the United States. To make a very long story short, in 2005, my wife went into preterm labor on the Las Vegas Strip of all places, and she was only at 6 months. Our daughter was only 2 pounds, and it was very much in danger of her actually being born 3 months premature. And there would have been all kinds of problems with her lungs and everything else. So our 4-day Las Vegas vacation turned into 2.5 months because my wife was then on complete bed rest. And that was down in a Las Vegas hospital under the private healthcare system. Now, I want to be clear, the private system was excellent down there. The quality of care she received, doctors, nurses, staff were excellent. It was very much top quality care. They were able to stop her labor. They were able to keep baby inside, and as it was, my wife was able to go full term. We were actually, our public system then paid through our travel insurance for us to come back to Lethbridge. A direct flight, the only direct flight you'll get from Las Vegas to Lethbridge on an air ambulance that was actually smaller than this room we're in. We had our own doctor and nurse, fully funded by our public health care, and that they didn't really want to spend any more money down in the States, because the one big disconcerting part about the American experience for us was not having peace of mind. And I think that's where Canadians really need to understand the value in our public healthcare system, is that we have peace of mind. Not once during my prostate cancer story did I really worry about getting a bill or not being covered. However, down in the States, we weren't really given that reinsurance. We had travel insurance, we had a doctor's note. In the end, both of those things were very much saving us. Our teacher insurance plan and the doctor's note were very key for us, but we couldn't get straight answers. I couldn't. I kind of left my wife out of the loop on. I let her deal with keeping baby inside, where I tried to deal with a lot of the financial stuff. And the disconcerting part was never really getting assurance that, yes, this is 100% covered, don't worry about it. It was always kind of, well, get this bill to this person and send us this bill, and don't worry about the creditors phoning you when we get back. We had to deal with creditors phoning us after. So it was very stressful, and I took a lot of that stress, hopefully, away from my wife. But we have a big binder of every bill we receive. You get a bill down there for just about everything you undergo. And it's stressful because you're not 100% sure if you're covered, right? As it was, our story ended happily. We were all covered. Our daughter was born and now at the U of L and doing very well. But that peace of mind was definitely lacking. And we do have peace of mind in our Canadian healthcare system that I think we all need to appreciate and make sure we preserve for years and decades to come. Yeah.
Well, this is very enlightening, and of course it shows that you were mentioning that for every Tylenol that your wife asked for, you were billed for that. Every ambulance ride, every time a new person came into the room, you would be billed for that. And you're just warning people that as we see the changes in our healthcare system, this is where we would be headed.
Yeah, I understand a lot of our politicians, particularly provincial level, letting in more private healthcare. And it's a good option with an exhausted system in the sense that we all have to remember we're all going to need a hospital one day. We're going to need doctors either for ourselves or for our family or for our parents or for whoever. So we all come to rely on this system. And it's important to have those options, and it's important to alleviate some of the pressures on the public system. But we can't really go down that path of us having to buy health insurance. That's just too much of an onus on any healthcare system. And I think that's a lot of the problems you're seeing in the States is people, thinking they have healthcare insurance and wind up not having in the end because of either deductibles too high or they've been denied their claim, or if they have treatment or something, the premiums go up. And it really becomes too much of a Las Vegas casino poker game for you as to whether or not you're going to get treatment and get care or get the best treatment that your doctors think you have, and you have to accept a subpar treatment. That's just something we don't want to go down the road in Canada. I don't think that helps people recover. I think having that stress of not being 100% certain, especially as you're getting treatment options and these things are expensive, it becomes very disconcerting for people. It becomes very stressful, and it can be a very significant obstacle to recovery. I think we have something very good here in Canada. It needs support. As wonderful as all the doctors have been and top quality care, I saw that they were sapped. I saw that they were running ragged. They are very busy on their shifts. They can try their best to meet with patients, but they are definitely, there's a lot of patients and there's a lot of demand on. I could just imagine what they go through in a day, and I think they need better support. They need more concerted funding. They need, especially COVID, as we know, COVID took a terrible toll on our hospitals and our healthcare system, and I don't think we've necessarily recovered yet from that 2 to 3 year period. And I think there's always room to expand and support our healthcare system. You don't realize until you need the system just how special it is and how sapped it can be, unfortunately. And we're living in an age where we have to deal with Donald Trump's tariffs. We have to deal with the disconcertion with Russia, Ukraine, and very much a fundamental shift in the global economy. We still can't forget about our healthcare. I know there's very significant need for defense spending, absolutely. Obviously, the climate is concerned, but we can't forget this. We can't forget that.
Yeah, we know that the greatest cause of bankruptcy in the U.S. and default on mortgages and loss of homes is related to people having to pay their tremendous health care costs that are beyond their insurance. Yes. Well, Mike, it's been wonderful to have you come and talk to us and share so honestly and share many of the private concerns that you had with your prostate cancer journey and now your recovery from the surgery. I mean, it sounds like a tremendously hard surgery with 2 months of recovery. And I think your warning and your admonition to all young men and men of all ages to make sure they get the PSA test and do it on a regular basis and find out at their annual checkup what's going on to protect them and to make sure that there is an early diagnosis, because as you were saying, the earlier the diagnosis, the better.
Yeah, I think so, absolutely. And I'm back to work here and next week, back to full-time teaching, so I'm very excited about that. And I'm hoping to go for a long time here still. So I'm very fortunate. So thank you.
Thank you
you
so
bet.
much,
It's
Mike.
a pleasure to
Thank
be
you for
here,
coming
honored
in.
to be here. Yeah,
Thank
you
you.
bet.